It's DA Wrestling. Got some stuff to talk about here. You're gonna like it. Hope so. Anyway, I'm Andrew. It's DA Wrestling. Let's get going. Okay, on today's show, we're gonna talk some NXT. We're also gonna talk a little bit in the beginning about Stephen Michael because I'm a wrestling guy. I'm also an NFL guy. So we're gonna talk about these things. Though Stephen Michael's career, very saddening to talk about that. But we're gonna talk about it anyway. Just some things, especially more of the wrestling side stuff. But I will mention the NFL stuff here because I'm an NFL guy too. Anyway, let's get started. Before we get started, though, guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe down below here. Small click for you, big click for us. We appreciate it. Anyway, about a day and a half ago, we lost Steve McMichael after a long, hard battle with ALS. If you guys who don't know what ALS is, that is Lou Gehrig's disease. It's named after Lou Gehrig. It's Lou Gehrig's disease because, well, frankly, he was the first person who ever was diagnosed with it, at least famous person wise. Okay, so Steve McMichael had a pretty well NFL career. Came in the league back in 1980. He was drafted by the New England Patriots, but his most dominant time was with the Chicago Bears from 81 to about 93. They played one more year with the Green Bay Packers. If you're a Packers fan, it's probably whoa. But nevertheless, his biggest triumphs came with the Chicago Bears. Um, he was a Super Bowl champion with Chicago Bears, the 85 Bears, part of the 46 defense. He was a two-time Pro Bowler, two-time first-team All-Pro, inducted to the Bears Ring of Honor, I believe it is. Also, he is part of the Bears all-time Bears team. He total have 849 tackles and 95 sacks altogether. He was inducted, like I said, to the Football Hall of Fame just last year. So he was able to stay alive just around to see it. Good for him. To his wrestling side, though, Stephen Michael basically started off as a commentator for WCW. But his first interaction really with wrestling, really at the time, was that he was at WrestleMania 11, right? Where he's part of Bam Bam Bigelow's, against Bam Bam Bigelow, he's part of Lawrence Taylor's team, right? Because Lawrence Taylor faced Bam Bam Bigelow in the main event of WrestleMania 11. He was part of the whole group there, did like a little bit of commentary events. WCW saw this and ended up picking him up, right? Let's do commentary, color commentary. He eventually ended up moving towards the ring, where he ended up joining eventually the Four Horsemen, Ric Flair and Chris Benoit and Arn Anderson. Yeah, twice. He also ended up winning the U.S. There's only one title that he won there was the U.S. title. I ended up beating Jeff Jarrett for that title. Ended up losing it to actually Kurt Hennig, aka Mr. Perfect for all you guys out there. He also had a large feud. At least the one I remember the most was Steve McMichael, other than his color commentary. He did a lot of color commentary, especially when the NWO first came in. But I remember his feud mostly with Bill Goldberg. It was over the Super Bowl ring, the 85 Bears Super Bowl ring. Steve Michael eventually would win that feud, hit Goldberg with a pipe, get his ring back, and the rest is history. Uh, Michael did make a quick stop in TNA at Bound for Glory. We paid the referee for a little bit, but it wasn't much of a thing. That was like a one-time offer thing there. Stephen Michael, whose NFL career and wrestling career will be missed. He was a very big interpret character in WCW. Went by the nickname Mongo or Ming, right? Not Ming like in Haku, but Ming. That's what he was in the NFL too. But he went more or less as Mongo. Most people knew him as Mongo. Um, Great player. He was a good player when he was. He got in the Hall of Fame. Said late. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to go to the Hall of Fame. He was still battling ALS at the time. He was in the hospital bed, but at least he got to see. They know he was in there. From a wrestling standpoint, it's very sad to see Stephen Michael go. It was inevitable, unfortunately, with the ALS. Um, there's another guy, Steve Gleason, who's in the NFL. He's still dealing with it. Obviously, we know Luke Gehrig. There have been others. It is a horrible disease. It does eventually shut down everything in your body. It's like cancer in a sense, but not really. It's just as bad as cancer, if you want to be honest with you. There is no cure for it, and it's sad to see Stephen Michael go. He also did marry, though. That's great. He did marry Deborah Michael, who people who know well know the two, was Stone Cold Steve Austin's former wife, real life wife. And it was also his real life wife too. He married her till about 98. She's just kept the Michael name for wrestling purposes, really. Let's be honest. But he will be missed. It was a sad day, especially with the NFL draft being on a Thursday. This is being filmed on a Thursday. So Stephen Michael, his presence is being felt throughout the whole NFL as well as being felt through the WWE. If you look through social media, a lot of like wish you were here's, rest well, everything, right? Stephen Michael was a very respected man in the world of wrestling. Despite him not being there that long, he was very respected for what he did. And he will be missed. Moving on to NXT Tuesday. I didn't get a chance to talk about this yesterday. I was a little busy with stuff, so we're going to talk about it now. Stephanie VAQUER ended up defeating Roxanne Perez, right, in her match. After the match was over, though, actually, it was really interesting, though. She did the devil's kiss during the match and pointed at Booker T because he knows how Booker T just loves and goes crazy for his stuff. So, after the match was over, Giulia ends up coming out, and the outside in a balcony was Jordynne Grace. So, obviously, the stuff between Jordynne Grace and Giulia is not over yet. It will still continue to happen going on. And we'll have to see going forward who will be it. My guess is probably one-on-one match between both, maybe even a triple threat somewhere down the line. We'll have to wait and see what goes on this. I still don't see Giulia losing. I still don't see Stephanie VAQUER losing that title anytime soon. Although we did see her on Raw this past week against Io Sky, and the reaction to her was very big. She's very, very popular. She is very, very over, in my opinion, in the company already. It might be a matter of time before Stephanie VAQUER is on the main roster. So, what do you think about that? Comment down below if you think maybe too early for Stephanie VAQUER to come on the main roster. Maybe not. You cannot deny her popularity, though. She really is one of the most popular females in all of wrestling right now. Hate to say it, folks. I love her. She's great. Anyway, moving on to it. We had a return on NXT last night of NOAM DARR. He came back and challenged Lexis King for the Heritage Cup. And since the Heritage Cup's rules are different because Lexis King lost. One fall to NOAM DARR. NOAM DARR is your new Heritage Cup champion. He's regained the NXT Cup after a long period of time not having it, also due to injury for obvious reasons. We'll see what happens with NOAM DARR going forward. But Lexis King, later on the night, had a challenge with Ricky Saints, and he'll face Ricky Saints next week for the North American title. And to see what goes on here. I do like what they're doing with Lexis King right now. I do like the character Lexis King. I think it's a very interesting character. It's definitely away from his father, although his father is often mentioned. So we'll see what goes on there, Ricky Saints. Also, we had Joe Hendry appear on NXT last night. Now, this came in a segment where FEMI came out talking about man respect to Javon Evans as well as Trick Williams. He doesn't like Trick Williams, right? Trick Williams came out, felt very offended by the whole thing, says he wants his one-on-one match. Joe Hendry came out. Trick Williams tried to rip on Joe Hendry for losing to Randy Orton, but it's Randy Orton. Let's be honest, right? But Joe Hendry looks like he was challenging FEMI, whereas FEMI's response for the most part was, "Don't do what Moose did." So we know what that means. It's going to be Joe Hendry versus FEMI at some point. Whether it's for the title or not is to be questioned. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe just the NXT title, not the TNA title. But who knows? It could be title for all I know. But who? Guess it. But Trick Williams still isn't getting his rematch here, but it looks like he wants that singles match against FEMI. You know it's going to be forced down the line. Chances are it will be forced sooner than later. So Trick Williams will probably face FEMI somewhere down the line. Like I said, very, very soon. But all in all, it was good. We also had the tag team title match went up where Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez took on Gigi Dolan and Peyton Paxley. Peyton Paxley, that's it. Say that 3 times fast. Overall, it was all a good match, back and forth, right? Obviously, Liv Morgan, as well as Raquel Rodriguez, did end up winning the match. It was almost expected to. If it would have been Bayley at WrestleMania who would have been competing instead of Becky Lynch, and maybe they won, maybe it would have been different, but who knows? Right? We'll see what happens there. Oh, that though, guys, it wasn't much else there. The crowd at NXT seemed to be very, very tied up from WrestleMania weekend in Vegas. It was a lot, from SmackDown to Stand Delivered to WrestleMania to Raw to NXT. It's a lot. A lot of people seem to be tired out at that point there at NXT. So, hey, all that you can do about it. There is stuff though out there too, talking about The Rock on his interview with Pat McAfee. Show how he said he didn't need to be there and all stuff. It almost makes a lot of people. I heard a lot of people online talk about this. Quite frankly, my opinion on the whole matter is this: there's more to come probably for this whole thing there too. So let's just keep our time with it too. Let's not freak out about everything. Oh, we didn't need to do the whole thing. Why did John Cena do this? The original plan was for Cody to turn heel. It's still going to happen, folks. It's just a matter of when. But we'll get more of this and more as more and more stuff comes out about it. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for the news today. There's not much else going on. Thank you very much for listening. All of my prayers, all stuff down to Steve Mcmichael and his family, the NFL and wrestling community as well. We're going to miss you, Steve. Congratulations on the Hall of Fame that you got in last year on. Hope you find your way there. Say hi to Walter Payton up there in wherever you are. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot, guys. Make sure you follow us on all our socials there. AMP1982, D-Lines 1991, and DA Sports Wrestling, right? All on X, DA Sports on TikTok. Make sure you like, share, subscribe on YouTube, Spotify as Podbean. We appreciate it all, guys. Thank you very much. Have a good one.